relation is employees, EMP ID, EMP name, এগুলো কি লিখেছে সৌরদীপ সব?
ভাই হ্যাঁ ওই তো এতে আছে তো ডিবিএমএস তো
হ্যাঁ কিন্তু এসব লিখেছে কি? Display
করিস
the
নি নাকি
name of
ক্লাস
the
একটা
employees order of
These
their joining
look
date.
ওই
pretty
হার্ড
fresh.
ডিবিএমএস
Did the water imp get someone again? Let's look around and see if we
না,
can
ও
find
একটা
anything
extra
else.
line লিখেছে, ওটা কেনই লিখেছে আমি জানি না। এক মালটাকে কাল থেকে
বাহ,
কলেজে গেছে।
খালি
থর
একখানা
ওডিনসন তো হেভি চুতিয়া।
খালি একখানা ক্লাস খালি স্কিপ করেছি মাঝখানে
থর ওডিনসন কিন্তু হেভি চুতিয়া আছে।
Wait! Did you hear something just now?
ওডিন থাটা থর ওডিন
থর ওডিনসন।
এই জেট তো তাকাবে আর গুলি মারবে ঢুকে পড়বে।
হাই
আই লাইক
What is that? Don't come any closer!
Paimon?
এই বেগান
Traveler?
মালটা প্রথমে বলে
I'm sorry. I forgot I was still wearing this.
কি সব কথা ভাই।
Freminet!
कौन सा सब्जेक्ट अच्छा लगता है?
Paimon, are you okay?
कौन सा सब्जेक्ट अच्छा लगता है? बेगन।
বেকরি
Paimon nearly mistook you for a water imp. Thank goodness it was just you wearing your helmet.
Huh?
ভবেন্দ্র
A water imp?
ভবেন্দ্র যোগী।
विप्रेंद्र जोगी।
Thelxie, you
আরে
say?
আমি জাম করব শোন না
How surprising.
Huh? You know that name too?
তাহলে কোন
Or do you know someone else is trying to investigate the water imp?
No, I think our situations are probably unrelated. Sure, if that's in order. I know the name because of one of my employers. She noticed the clockwork penguins I brought to the workshop and contacted me through the shop's owner. She has commissioned me to make a special toy. Following her request, I've named the toy Thelxie.
কি প্ল্যান ভাই
But isn't it a little creepy to name a toy after a water imp?
আমার কথা চলে এসেছে।
Yeah, but she made it. It's all right though. She'll be coming over to check on my progress shortly.
Huh. Even though you seem a little cold and reserved sometimes, you're still really considerate. Our target isn't necessarily the water imp, though. We're primarily here to investigate the disappearance of the fish.
The fish? I think these past few weeks, I've been taking Thelxie for underwater tests. So, all that about the disappearing fish? Well, it was probably because of me.
So that's all it was? That actually makes a lot of sense. Wait, so could that mean the child we heard about who walked into the water was also...
Yes, I think that's quite likely as well.
Whew. So in the end, it was just Freminet. Paimon spent all this time imagining what a water imp from the fairy tales might look like, and it all turns out to be just a hoax.
I'm sorry. It sounds like I've created a lot of trouble for Thank you.
Actually, how much work do you still have left, Freminet? Maybe...
Thanks for offering. But I can't trouble you any more than I already have.
Hey, it's no trouble at all. Didn't you just call us your trustworthy...
But don't you need to...
Nope, that's not how it works. See, Paimon's got these commissioner types all figured out, even though we were just tasked with finding out why the fish had gone missing. If we tell them now that it was all just a misunderstanding, you can bet they'd just immediately hand us another commission to help them get the fish back. Exactly! So if we can help you finish up your work and get the fish back, that would save us an extra trip!
Is that what... Huh. Alright, I'll trust your judgment. Please follow me. I've stored Thelxie in the tent. He can respond to some simple verbal commands. You can try calling his name and see if he'll come over.
Whoa, sounds pretty advanced. Let Paimon give it a try. Hey, Thelxie! So that's Freminet's version of Thelxie. It's also penguin-shaped, just like Pear.
Yep. Had Thelxie lived in Penguin Town, he'd probably have become great friends with Pear. It's not really anywhere famous or important. Don't worry about it.
Hey, Thelxie. Nice to meet you. Do you know how to say hello?
I wanted to install a language output module, but due to time constraints, I had to give up on the idea. As it stands, Thelxie can only output messages that were pre-written into its motherboard. I haven't given him the ability to convert those messages into discernible words, so he can't really talk to us just yet.
No need to get so technical. So basically you...
No, there's no need. That wasn't one of my employer's requests. It was just something I wanted to try. I have 2 other things I'd like your help with. The first is to do some integration testing on Thelxie's motherboard, to make sure he will be able to function properly in most situations.
That doesn't sound too hard.
The other shouldn't take too long either. You'll need to find Thelxie some colorful shells and coral, so I can craft a weapon for him.
A weapon?
Mm-hmm. Thelxie will need to be able to charge forward with a weapon in hand, like that brave prince of legend. It's a part of my employer's request.
What an imaginative employer! Naming Thelxie after a water imp, but wanting him to look like a prince?
Well, regardless of his role or species, Thelxie's purpose is the same. Just like Pear.
Whoa! Thelxie just said something again! Could he understand what we were just talking?
He can react to certain key words, but unfortunately, due to the lack of a translation module, he still can't quite communicate with us.
That's a pity. But anyway, the most...
Sounds good. The motherboard is on my workbench, so... Ah, here we go. I have this testing manual, so feel free to reference it if you get stuck. Want to give it a try? Okay. Knowing you, I'm sure you'll be able to... You're doing well. Just as I expected.
We've taken on a lot of similar tasks before, you know.
Then let's move on to the underwater part. It's just as I mentioned earlier. We're after colorful shells and coral. Oh, speaking of which, you're both already pretty used to Fontaine's underwater environment, right? Okay, that's good. Just let me know if you ever feel uncomfortable. I'll make sure to stay right by your side.
Rain outlines your fate.
আগে টিপিটা করবো তারপরে
Time to act. Body and mind.
It should be right over there. We'll be able to find something that'll help us with our... This is it. We call this thing an echoing conch. It can detect special reflection waves in the... Did you notice any interesting places? The echoing conch should have detected some just now. Let's go check them out. All right, these should be enough. Let's head back to camp.
With the wind.
Ah, Freminet, you're back. I thought you might have been out diving.
I'm sorry, Madame de Stray. I must have kept you waiting.
There's no rush. I'm your employer, not your...
They're two of my trustworthy companions. They're here to help me work on Thelxie.
Yes, I see. I suppose it's only natural for someone responsible like you to have some reliable friends.
It's really nice to meet you, Madame Destray. Are you Freminet's employer? Paimon is...
Greetings, my new friends. Just call me Zuria. You are both so adorable. The sight of you reminds me of little fairies under...
Oh, do you really think so?
Of course. If my child had friends like you, then perhaps he wouldn't have become so obsessed with the tales of water imps. And I wouldn't have had to...
Obsessed with the tales of water imps?
Ah, so you don't know anything about my request yet? I would have...
Well, Freminet told us that it was a private matter, so he didn't want to just share it willy-nilly.
I see. So Monsieur Freminet is even more discreet than I had thought. As you are assisting him with the project, I believe it'll be beneficial for you to learn more about its vision and history. But it would be quite impolite of me to simply pile all of my troubles on you without your permission. So, would you like to listen to my story?
Sure, you can tell us anything. You've already said nice things about us, so we'll try our best to help you get through your troubles.
Ah, what a lovely little fairy. Then let me think of a way to put my situation into words. Simply put, parents came up with a story, painting water imps as scary abductors in an effort to convince their children to stay away from the water. My child is rather special, however. While most other children are terrified of Thelxie, he's infatuated with him.
Infatuated? With a water imp? What a brave soul.
Yes, He told me that he thought the water imp might have just been misunderstood. In his mind, instead of singing to abduct children, the water imp actually sang out of a longing for companionship. As a result, he often goes near the water in secret.
Huh. So he wanted to become friends with the water imp so it wouldn't be lonely any longer? What a unique way of thinking.
Thank you, little Paimon. He indeed has always stood out from the crowd. He was actually diagnosed with loneliness syndrome when he was only 8 years old. It's a type of mental disorder. Those affected by it often feel extremely lonely and lose interest in many mundane activities. The syndrome is probably what made him so determined to become friends with the water imp.
Oh no. Is it a very serious disorder?
If you were to become afflicted with the disorder, Paimon, you would only be able to say less than a fraction of the words you're saying to the traveler now.
No! Paimon won't accept that! We would have to find a doctor to help cure Paimon. Paimon has a 2,000-word quota for daily conversations with the traveler, and she won't settle for a single word less!
The family doctor has already begun to treat my son, but since the disorder is rare, there aren't many good regimens for treatment. He's also developed some new symptoms lately, such as uncontrollable delusions.
Huh? Uncontrollable what now?
Uncontrollable delusions. To put it simply, he can no longer differentiate between fantasy and reality, and spends all his time in his fantasy world.
Then what is he seeing in his fantasy world?
It's a dream that he often mentioned to me when he was younger. I've compiled what I could understand of his recent rambling. It goes a bit like this.
Amazing! Your son came up with all of this? He really crafted a lovely fairy tale world for Thelxie.
But perhaps no beautiful dream can ever last long. You see, the story ended with a twist.
How could the story end like this? Is that kind of fantasizing what caused your son to develop?
Well, it'd be more accurate to say that it was the syndrome that caused such terrible delusions to manifest. But in any case, the biggest problem is the patient eventually loses themselves to the fantasy world of their own creation.
My poor child can no longer differentiate between imagination and reality. He's begun to see himself as Thelxie.
Perhaps in his mind, the loneliness he felt became the same as that of a prince who lost everything he ever loved or stood for.
What? So that's what you meant by uncontrollable delusions. Then we have to help him snap out of it.
Alas, most of the time he acts as if he can no longer sense or interact with the real world at all. I've had several discussions with the doctor, and we think it is best to try to guide his fantasy. He once wanted to make a picture book of his imaginary world, but since the disorder progressed too quickly, he never quite got past the first page of the book. If we could use this book as a breakthrough for his condition. Here, you can take a look.
Ah, so Zuria's son also saw Thelxie as a penguin. Aww.
What we should do now is help him complete this picture book. However, we'll need to chase away his loneliness and sorrow, and let him perceive a world full of hope again.
But if we just need to finish the picture book, why does freminet need to make a Thelxie as well?
Because we need to treat the book's story seriously, as if it's a history of things that have really happened, We'll need to go on a journey like Thelxie and help him regain his crown and country. But my child can no longer go on a journey of his own. This is why I commissioned Freminet here to craft a Thelxie, and then I'll paint the journey with this Thelxie into the picture book.
Ah, like a stand-in for your son! Paimon's starting to get it now. Oh, you really put a lot of thought into this, Zuria. Paimon still has one question, though. Where will we be able to find a Water Imp kingdom?
There are some ruins on the seabed of the Salacia Plains. I've already asked Freminet to research them for me. We'll be able to use one of the ruins as the kingdom.
Oh, so we'll just need to act out a performance of, a brave journey through the Kingdom of Water Imps. As long as we chase away the monsters in the ruins, it'll count as chasing away the monsters in the Water Imp Kingdom, right?
Sadly, no. We won't just be putting on a performance. It's just as Zuria said. We need to take this seriously. And the only way we can take this seriously is if we choose to believe everything that's happening is real.
So we'll be playing it straight? Or, making it a fully immersive experience? Oh, neither.
It's all right. There's no need to get... Keep your spirits up, everyone. If we were to look troubled, my son is sure to become anxious as well. I should be heading back right... We temporarily moved to a place on the hill over there, so my son will have a better spot to convalesce. It's not far from the water, and there's also a great view.
Understood. There's also one last thing. Since these two friends were able to help me out, I've made some more progress on Thelxie. I estimate that he should be ready sometime tomorrow.
That's great news. I must thank you all. All right, everyone. Let's meet
Zuria sure is a brave and optimistic lady.
Let's discuss that over by the tent. There were a few things that I didn't bring up because the Madame was here.
What is it, Freminet?
If you don't mind me asking, I would like the two of you to mentally prepare yourselves. This is the first time that you've met anyone with the syndrome, right? I know you two are both really strong and will do everything you can to help the child. But with the syndrome being the way it is, if things don't quite turn out as we wish, I hope you'll be able to accept the outcome and not put too much blame on yourselves.
Freminet, why do you bring this up all of a sudden? Didn't we just promise Zuria that we'll be optimistic about everything working out?
It's not that I'm not optimistic. It's just...
Ah, so that's why you looked like you knew exactly what she was talking about.
No. Please don't misunderstand. I've never had it. I've just seen many cases of it at the House of the Hearth, back when we lived under the previous director. They say there are many factors surrounding the development of this illness. I've heard everything from hereditary factors and one's state of mind, to environmental factors, and even ley line disorder effects. Some even say it could be caused by contamination from god remains. And from the cases I've seen, there were...
What? It could get that serious? And here Paimon thought they'd just stop talking as much.
Yeah, that's just the nature of it. So if you'll find it difficult to cope with the worst case scenario, I would prefer that you back out right now. I don't want you to help only to feel like you failed.
Yeah, that's right. Paimon's seen all of those things too.
Really? Then...
Yeah! But Paimon has a question. If this illness can really be as bad as you've described, then After all, we'll just be using a toy as Thelxie and some ruins as the Kingdom of Water Imps. The whole...
Well, I think it should be able to do something. To harbor a fantasy means that the child wants to save himself somehow. The only reason he's allowed his dream kingdom to fall is because he's lost control of his heart. But if we can help him regain control and escape from the darkness, we'll...
Oh, Paimon sees what you're saying now.
Well, maybe because I've also had many of my own dreams in the past. I even had my own fairy tale world, much like that boy's. I was able to draw a lot of support from it, so I believe in the power of fantasy worlds. So you remember...
What Penguin Town? Why doesn't Paimon remember? Is that also a fairy tale world? Don't leave Paimon in the dark. Hey, why did you put that on?
It's just one of my personal quirks. Please pay it no mind. Anyway, Penguin Town is a peaceful place with lots of penguin residents. They're all really good at making clockwork toys. And Pear is the town's triumphant hero, as well as the one who quietly protects the whole place.
Pear? But didn't you make Pear yourself?
Well, I often think that Pear only came to me because he realized how much I needed him. So it's not so much that I made Pear, as Pear chose me as his friend.
Freminet, are you sure you're not losing control of your fantasies as well?
No, I don't think so. I can still differentiate between fantasy and reality. I just believe that the fairy tale world of my dreams must also exist somewhere. It might just be hidden, which is why it's difficult to see. Or it will only reveal itself at very specific times.
Specific times? Like when you put on your diving helmet?
Yeah, that's the general idea of it.
Really? Paimon just said that because you put on your helmet.
Have you ever observed the surface world from underwater? It's as if you're viewing a whole different world from the I have a similar feeling when I put on my diving helmet. In those moments, it's possible to see some truly wondrous things, as if a fairy tale is
Really? Like a miracle?
Well, if that's in order.
Hey, don't you still need time to work on Thelxie's weapon? We don't want to keep you from finishing your commission.
Right. I still have to collect... Thanks for all of your...
Days
Is your child feeling any...
Thank you for your concern, Freminet. His condition is fairly stable.
Zuria, Freminet, we're here!
Seems like everyone's arrived now.
Not quite. Aren't we missing someone? But Paimon has a guess where he might be. Hey, Thelxie! Whoa! Thelxie's got himself a sword and a shield now. He's looking sharp.
Indeed. With his weapons in hand, Thelxie looks more formidable than ever. You've really outdone yourself, Freminet.
We helped too.
Yes, you really had a good eye for materials. Everything you found was high quality. Speaking of which, Zuria just told me that she wants to end the adventure with the coronation ceremony. So, could I also trouble you with finding some materials for the crown? You can just keep an eye out for them on our way to the ruins. I was planning to...
Seems like everything's ready to go.
Please wait a moment. I was just thinking. Since Thelxie has already shown us his brand new appearance, we may already be able to draw a new page in the picture book.
Ooh, Paimon's excited now.
Why don't we use the story we know as a reference? Just make the atmosphere a bit less grim.
So we'll take out the sad parts and replace them with happier stuff? Sounds great to Paimon.
All right, I'll give it a try. I'm not very adept at drawing, but I've seen a lot of art during my work.
Let me think.
Okay, I'll add the weapons. Anything else?
Paimon wants to give him some friends. Thelxie's got some friends by his side now, so he's no longer fighting alone.
Okay, I'll also draw some companions. Anything else? Color. Ah, color, yes! That's really important. The road in front of him now will know... Who would have thought the page could have become so inspiring?
Great! Everyone looks super pumped up.
Are you seeing this, my son? Are you feeling inspired by this as well?
I'm sure he is, Zuria. And this is still just the first page.
That's right! Paimon can't wait to see the picture.
I'm starting to look forward to it as well. So let's get the show on the road and head towards the Kingdom of Water Imps.
Yay! Thelxie's fantastic adventures begin!
Huh?